Roger Brown, sociologist, intelligence collection, and analysis methodologist, called by some the, quote, the most dangerous mind in North America. Roger's general field is sociology of knowledge, with specializations in sociology of intelligence operations, cultural reality models, and how cultures define and relate to the spiritual world. Roger has tested Joseph Campbell's conclusion that the spiritual traditions of all cultures are attempts to describe the same spiritual world by determining if what they identify as teachable and learnable spiritual skills can be learned. In the intelligence field, Roger has developed the most advanced methodology that currently exists, responding to requests to address various intelligence system inadequacies identified by World War II intelligence professionals interviewed for his master's thesis on World War II international intelligence operations. James Roger Brown developed the following. James Roger Brown, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. And I will add a disclaimer, despite this being April 1st, nothing I'm going to tell your listeners tonight is an April Fool joke.
No, absolutely. That's at the top of my list, that this is not an April Fool's show. This has to do with your reality, folks, and what's facing you in the coming days, months, and years. That the evil, well, we're going to try to make some sense out of this madness that's now waxing worse and worse around us every day. Roger?
Yes, indeed. And based on some emails and telephone calls I've gotten since my last appearance on Dave Hodges' show, I'm going to add a little bit more in my background to include some insights on how it is I'm able to stay alive doing what I'm doing. I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I did in response to the requests from the people that I interviewed to set up my master's thesis, which was a cross-national study of World War II intelligence operations, usually as part of their culture when they are asked a favor that is based on their World War II experiences and expertise, they ask a favor in return. So they asked me as a condition of helping me with my master's thesis that I do some particular tasks, all of which indicated the type of people I was dealing with, because you can tell whether what they're asking for is something selfish or for the general benefit of everyone. What I was asked to do by two of the individuals was address the inadequacies of the intelligence system, which they realized was just entirely a political process. There was no objective criteria for engaging and collecting intelligence and analyzing it. The third individual, who was on General Eisenhower's staff, told me two pieces of ET-related information from World War II era. The first was that they encountered an error in the Earth's magnetic field that was throwing off the compass heading for the first bombing missions against Germany. And they actually sent some folks to the magnetic North Pole to find out what the problem was, and they discovered some extraterrestrial technology which I seriously doubt they were able to get into because they probably put security measures on it to keep out polar bears and any curious monkeys that showed up. He also told me that they knew there were 3 to 5 flights a month coming in the North Pole, going down the middle of the Pacific Ocean to the South Pole, and they assumed those were supply runs.
And we're on our first break. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States in 1963.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President today.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
I've got a vision for what I want to do for the country. See, I know exactly where I want to lead. It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
And we're back. My guest today, Roger Brown. You can find his website. It's thesociologycenter.com. Thesociologycenter.com. We're going to, he's got a 3-section article that you can download from. Go to Dave Hodges' website, The Common Sense Show. Scroll down to headline says Death Squad, and go down there, and there's a link there, and you can download and read what we're going to be talking about today. And this is not an April Fool's show. This is deadly serious.
Yes, it is. It's important that they go to the Dave Hodges Show website and download it, or one of the other places that they might find it. Anticipating some problems with this, I prevented it being taken down from my website by not putting it up there. The only way you can download the book is through a link on someone else's website. That's how I added a layer of security to this, and hopefully it will work out well. I know I can tell from the counter that several hundred people have downloaded it. So go there and download this, and also the graphic that I have on the cover, warning toxic government and marauding evil ahead. You can extract that using the image copy function, put it onto a sheet of paper, print it out, and print out a number of them, and if you're so inclined, put them up in the vicinity of any government offices or agencies that you think might be proper to warn people about what takes place there. Be careful and don't get shot and don't get arrested doing this. But
yes.
I designed it so that it could be a multi-purpose sign in addition to the cover on my little book. And it contains 3 commentary articles that I wrote over 4 years. It took me that long to get my hands on all of the information and documentation to include so that people would understand that it was not something I made up. Getting back to the problems I was asked to deal with, in addition to the 2 from the intelligence people from World War II that I interviewed, I wanted to devise some way to turn sociology into a real science because it was nothing but junk science when I was going through graduate school. And it took me 12 years, but I did solve all 3 problems and discovered that the solution to each one of them was exactly the same, which was to devise a theory based on using neural structures as the unit of analysis. And it's based on an understanding of how your central nervous system works that you actually need to know in addition to what I discovered about it. First and foremost, your central nervous system has a processing speed of about 1/3 of a second. It takes your central nervous system that long to integrate all of the sensory input and construct a reality simulation of what's going on in the world outside of your skin. Your skin is the boundary for everything that you have direct control over. And the way your central nervous system handles everything else is to construct reality simulations. What determines your ability to survive is how accurate those reality simulations are. And the individual skills that you acquire are neural structures that your central nervous system constructs that processes sensory input the same way every time it occurs. That's how you're able to understand that I'm speaking English, because as part of your education, you constructed neural structures that would process the sound patterns for each word every time that you heard it. And that's when learning occurs. And that's how learning occurs. And that's important to understand because the only way you can learn is through your own direct experiences. What I have learned is of little use to you in terms of how it might be used for your personal survival, but it's important for 2 reasons. Not only have we all been dumbed down, we've been dulled down. You should be able to go to the minister of your church and learn the same skills that Jesus taught his disciples. That was one of the purposes of the church, was to pass those skills from one generation to the next. Now, obviously, the church got corrupted somewhere along the way and decided to be world power instead of a spiritual power, and for that reason, it's hard to come by those skills. Now, in all of the stuff that I've studied from other cultures, it includes looking at martial arts skills. Tibetan, I spent 6 months learning everything I could from a Tibetan healer, and there's one basic awareness exercise that's a common starting point for all of them. I'm going to talk you through that so you can start experiencing it and explore the world with it. Take your hand about like you're going to clap, put them about 3 or 4 inches apart, and then slowly move them back and forth. You will feel a tugging and resistance as you move your hands slowly back and forth. Now, the first question for you is, what sensory system are you using to feel that? And because it's not touch, it's not smell, it's not sight. You can actually close your eyes and do that. Explore things around you. The Tibetan healers use it to diagnose and locate breaks in bones, diseased organs, things like that. You can learn how to do that, but good luck on finding somebody. You're probably going to have to explore on your own and acquire whatever skills you can. One of the skills that I use from Aikido is an advanced technique which allows you to monitor individuals in your immediate vicinity for hostile intent. In karate, for example, going through a series of learning experiences that expand your awareness of energy and how it moves in the world around you, a person in a traditional Asian dojo who's going for his black belt would have to defeat 5 opponents attacking him while he is blindfolded. The only way you can succeed in doing that is to master the skills for being aware of where somebody is around you and with sufficient detail to know when a kick or punch is coming. Good luck on doing that. Getting back to the main point of what I want to talk about tonight, which is the point of the 3 articles. I'm going to take them out of order. The middle article is Barack Obama, America's Pol Pot, and I want to summarize that first. But did you have a question?
Well, that's kind of like the situation of, knowing what's going on around you. You're driving down the road, you see the flashing red and blue lights in the rearview mirror, and you know that it's probably not going to be good.
Yes, indeed. and that's learned sensory input, too.
Yes.
You learn to associate the flashing red and blue lights with police.
Yes.
And that can be used for deception, too, because there have been a number of incidents where individuals have placed the lights in their regular vehicles and used it to pull women over and do obscene things to them.
Yes. And rob, maim, steal, and destroy. Oh.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see. Oh.
And some of that done by actual cops.
Yes. So we've got the abomination Barry Soetoro, and you've termed him as America's Pol Pot from Cambodia?
Yes, indeed. And there's an amazing number of coincidences in their past. Both of them were community organizers. Both of them led revolutions that overthrew the current government. Both turned government into death machines to kill those they decided were not deserving to live. Both destroyed the national medical infrastructure to expedite killing people. Both of them destroyed the nation's news and information distribution. Both took direct control of the economy, labor, food, land, and resources. Barack Obama issued executive orders authorizing himself to do that. And you've got, this amazing parallel. They even also have in common that they do not have the name they were born with. They've gone through several identities. Barack Obama does not even have a Social Security number that is consistent with any place he's ever lived. And the questions about how he got that are so far unanswered, except by Sheriff Joe in Arizona. Yes. So you've got those parallels, and I would encourage people to go to the book and read the 3 articles carefully, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The section about the death squads I will get into next. Try and...
now, Pol Pot.
Are we coming up on a commercial again?
Yeah, we'll be coming up here in about 2 minutes. So let's finish up with Pol Pot, that he is known as, well, the book and the movie called The Killing Fields.
Yes.
That he committed genocide of, 2-3 million people there in Cambodia.
Yes, and it was all to turn Cambodia into an agrarian utopia. And he intentionally destroyed the doctors, anybody with education, the religious people, priests, monks. They were killed, and he did it in part by some of the same mechanisms that Obama is using. He put young people in charge of discipline and executions in the work camps.
Here we go, folks. The Obama youth. We'll be right back. Stay tuned here on the American Freedom Network.
I pledge allegiance to the King of Kings and to his kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. One holy nation, under Heavenly Father, grace, mercy, justice for all.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a left behind rapture scenario. This false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear, this element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Randy Yarboro with you. My guest today, new to the show, Roger Brown. You can find his website at thesociologycenter.com. Thesociologycenter.com. The articles we're going to be talking about, go to Dave Hodges' website, thecommonsenseshow.com, thecommonsenseshow.com. Scroll down, and you'll see the headline, here, Roger Brown, Exposed Death Squads, America's Pol Pot, and Black Dawn. And you scroll down a little farther, and there's the link, and you can get the PDF on these articles that you need to read. And in light of, Roger, in light of the Jade Helm 15 exercises coming up, and the, quote, death squads, you've done research on this, looked at it, looked at what's gone on all over the world, Cambodia. We can go all the way back to, Nazi Germany, the Turkish slaughter.
Argentina, Greece.
Yeah, Greece, Argentina, Chile, even Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and all of these death squads. And you're saying, well, the people are saying out there, the masses out there are saying, well, this is America. It could never happen here, yet it's going on every day in the major cities, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I have an excellent summary of why from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who was a survivor of the Russian Gulag, which we may get our own chance to parallel his experience. But he said, to do evil, a human being must first of all believe that what he's doing is good, or else that it's a well-considered act in conformity with natural law. Fortunately, it is the nature of the human being to seek justification for his actions. Macbeth's self-justifications were feeble, and his conscience devoured him. Yes, even Iago was a little lamb too. The imagination and spiritual strength of Shakespeare's evildoers stopped short at a dozen corpses because they had no ideology. Ideology, that is what gives evildoing its long-sought justification and gives the evildoer the necessary steadfastness and determination. That is the social theory, which helps to make his acts seem good instead of bad in his own and others' eyes, so that he won't hear reproaches and curses, but will receive praise and honors. That was how the agents of the Inquisition fortified their wills, by invoking Christianity, the conquerors of foreign lands by extolling the grandeur of the motherland, the colonizers by civilization, the Nazis by race, and the Jacobins, early and late, by equality, brotherhood, and the happiness of future generations. Thanks to ideology, the 20th century was fated to experience evildoing on a scale calculated in the millions. This cannot be denied, nor passed over, nor suppressed. How then do we dare insist that evildoers do not exist? And who was it that destroyed these millions? Without evildoers, there would have been no archipelago. End of quote. Going back to what I was talking about, how the central nervous system works, an ideology is a reality simulation. And what's being done to the law enforcement, the military, and the government agencies is to introduce a reality simulation in the form of an ideology that redefines people who support the Constitution, people who believe that they have rights. It transforms them into somebody who's evil and a threat to order. And it's all exactly what Solzhenitsyn is talking about, these ideologies that are being introduced into law enforcement and other places that turn the public into enemies. And it will allow them to justify what they're doing, which is getting ready to kill people. Now, obviously, if they're mercenaries, they're not motivated by ideology but by greed, but the end result is the same. Now, it's important to understand something about the mass graves forensics. In a number of the places where mass executions have been done before, the anthropologists have been brought in to dig up the mass graves and try and identify the individuals and draw what conclusions they could from what they observed. And one of the things that's missing, which explains a lot about the current behavior of the Obama administration, is the average number of bullets it took to kill people in the mass graves. Not having that information, the Obama administration is literally bought up every available bullet they can because they don't know how many they're going to need to kill everybody they plan on killing. The other thing is that the existence of mass graves indicates that people who are executed here as enemies of the state are probably going to end up in mass graves too, and have some industrial solvent dumped on them all to help dissolve their bodies. The reason being, these evildoers would not want people in the future asking questions about why there were entire graveyards full of people that all died on the same day. And the infamous FEMA coffins, I suspect, are probably more a reflection of what they anticipate their casualties being for conducting this mass execution of American citizens.
Really? So the guys down there at the Fusion Center right now, listening in and monitoring the show, one of those FEMA coffins could have your name on it, guys. Maybe
yes, indeed.
Well, maybe you guys want to rethink your ideology on this whole thing.
Well, one of the things that has happened before, and from some of the information that's come out is planned for this too, is the people who do the execution, it's convenient for the leadership to have them disappear too, because they don't want anybody around to testify.
Yes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
Square Root Construction is pleased to help support the American
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights media channel. You've noticed that there are few commercials on this radio network, and there's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on satellite, internet, or our various affiliates. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs on our listen and schedule pages. Then when you subscribe, we'll send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately and continue with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We ask you to give much less than a tithe so that you may also send support directly to a particular program, host, or cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Roger Brown, sociologist, his website, the sociologicalcenter.com. The sociological.
That's the Sociology Center.
Oh, the Sociology Center. Sorry. The sociologycenter.com. To download.
That might take them to a government website or something.
Who knows where they end up, huh? The sociologycenter.com. To download the articles, go to Dave Hodges' website, thecommonsenseshow.com. Thecommonsenseshow.com. Scroll down. It says here, Roger Brown exposed death squads, America's Pol Pot and Black Don. And you can scroll down a little farther and get right into these articles of death squads. Now, history is replete with death squads, okay? All the way back. I mean, we go all the way back into ancient times and uncovering the mass graves to current times where they've uncovered the graves in Chile and Argentina and Cambodia but they say it can't happen here, Roger, because, well, the police, they're there to protect us. But,
well, you can identify the death squads and torture squads by their recruitment and training. I'm going to go through some of these, and they will probably sound awfully familiar. The first one, the screening of death and torture squad members, is based upon physical strength and animosity towards specific political, religious, or other beliefs, ethnic groups, or other social distinctions depending upon the population targeted for torture or mass execution. Some of the distinctions might be constitutionalist, survivalist, prepper.
Sovereign citizen.
Yes. People who ask too many questions. The second thing to look for, they are offered the distinction of being drafted or recruited into elite units that require them to torture or execute prisoners or detainees. 3, they must demonstrate the ability to never discuss what the torture or execution squad does. 4, loyalty is also tested by requiring them to snitch on other torture or death squad members who do not follow orders or rules. 5, they must demonstrate aggression toward targeted groups, individuals, and detainees. 6, they follow orders without question. And 7 is a multi-parter which includes trainees are physically and psychologically abused while being told how fortunate they are to be members of the unit. The physical and psychological abuse of torture squad members will include the tortures they will be expected to apply to torture victims. They are kept in a constant state of fatigue and prevented from relieving themselves for long periods of time to keep them from thinking clearly. Trainees are required to swear allegiance to some physical symbol of unit or government authority. In Nazi Germany, the entire officer corps was tricked into swearing personal allegiance to Hitler at a public ceremony. Trainees are told they will have protected special powers or authority over their fellow citizens. They are told their actions will never be questioned. Now, this is a problem because anyone familiar with the trials of the death and torture squad members in Argentina, Greece, and other places should know that that is a falsehood. It may take years, but their crimes are documented, and they are held accountable. In the case of the Greek military junta that had power from April 21st, 1967 to July 23rd, 1974, the first torture-related trials began in August of 1975. So that was a relatively short turnaround period. Trainees are told that if they show mercy to anyone ordered tortured or executed, they will take that person's place. A special in-house language is used with code words and euphemisms for various types of torture, nicknames for victims to dehumanize them, nicknames for unit members to conceal identity, and classifying non-members as outside world. Now, this is also a characteristic that you will find in the other two types of death squads, which are vigilante and crime-related. Frequent training classes are held depicting the targeted population as dangerous, criminal, conspirators, traitors, terrorists, and other undesirable labels. You can look at the frequent federal training exercises and updates that are given to local law enforcement to make sure they're staying on the program of how they view constitutionalists and other troublemakers who actually think they have rights. Torturers are desensitized to pain and learn the torture techniques from the physical and psychological abuse incorporated into their own training. And successful torturers are given specific rewards for each confession or each desired piece of information they succeed in obtaining. You can look at some of the stories relating to Argentina. Henry Kissinger actually sent the Argentine government a cable. That's a good cliffhanger. We'll take that up after the commercial.
Yes, the infamous Henry Kissinger. How did he get in here? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
SociologyCenter.com. You can download the articles from Dave Hodges' website, thecommonsenseshow.com. Scroll down the page to, you'll hear Roger Brown expose death squads, Americans, Pol Pot, and Black Dawn. Go down a little farther, and there's the link and 3 articles, and you need to get those, folks. You need to study this because, well, evil men are waxing worse and worse, and we left off with that world-class diplomat, Henry Kissinger, that wrote National Security Memorandum 200 that said, well, there's way too many people here in the world, and we've got to get rid of a whole bunch of them. But what was his comment to...
well, he was implementing that a long time ago. Congress was about to hold hearings on what was going on in Argentina with the disappearances, and Henry Kissinger wrote them a cable through diplomatic channels warning them to hurry up and finish up doing all the killing so that it was over with before Congress started their hearings and might cut off funding to the Argentine government. Another sterling moment in American history.
Yes.
You go ahead.
If you don't believe this, folks, just Google Henry Kissinger National Security Memorandum 200 and read that. And that shows you where this government has been. It doesn't matter if it's Republican, Democrat, or Socialist Party A or B. This has been going on for a long time here, hasn't it?
Yes, that's one of the points I wanted to make, is that the mechanisms in government that are being used to prepare for this were designed and planned in both left and right-wing think tanks. These Obamacare and some of these other programs, didn't just appear overnight. And one thing that was noticeable about the Obama administration is that he did not rescind the executive orders Bush signed that gave him additional power. So this is a cumulative process that's been planned through both the left and the right for decades. And the spiritual dulling down that I referred to has been going on for centuries, beginning with, I would suspect a good point to would be the time when the Catholic Church decided to switch from being a spiritual power to a world power. And once they did that, they couldn't have people thinking about spiritual matters and learning spiritual skills. You had to put them in a dependent state where you had power over them.
Yes. Don't read the Holy Word of God because, well, you could never understand it. And besides that...
yes, it had to be interpreted for them.
Yes, and besides that, we are the priestcraft.
That's still going on, by the way.
Yes. And we'll get into that more after the top of the hour news break. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back in 5 minutes or so here on the American Freedom Network.
Now you can reach the American Freedom Network at our new P.O. Box.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity, invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Prospects for reaching the outline of a deal on Iran's nuclear program remain uncertain as talks continue in Switzerland. Sagar Magani has more.
A day after blowing through a self-imposed deadline, 3 of the 6 foreign ministers involved left. Iran's deputy foreign minister says a joint statement could come out today, but suggested it would not contain any specifics, which a senior Western official calls unacceptable. Sagar Magani at the Pentagon.
One Indiana family business is standing by its beliefs and is a prime example of why the Hoosier State's religious freedom law is needed.
As the nation debates the recent religious freedom law enacted by Indiana, WBND-TV reports that a local pizza parlor is defending the now contentious bill at their restaurant.
If a gay couple was to come in, like say they wanted us to provide them pizzas for a wedding, we would have to say no.
Crystal O'Connor and her family own Memories Pizza and Ice Cream in Walkerton, Indiana. The owners standing firm in their beliefs.
We're not discriminating against anyone. It's just that's our belief. And everybody has the right to believe anything.
As many opponents around the country